Respite, the 25th of April, 2025. Without the necessary, the contingent would never exist. Without God, the universe would never exist. An existence is contingent if it requires other things to exist. A contingent world is all we have. If we take all the contingent things in the cosmos out of the picture, nothing of the world would remain except God. Everything depends on God to exist, and God does not depend on anything. He is the necessary existence without whom nothing exists. If God were to be angry with people, if they sin against God, He turns His face from them. However, He continues to give them blessings, food and water, and He continues to allow them to live. If God does not destroy a people, it is not because He likes them or because He likes to hear what they say. Instead, it is because He is merciful and patient. He wants them to repent and to ask forgiveness. Those who claim that God has a son are also put on a delay. God delays them until they repent and ask forgiveness. When a person says such a thing about God, the earth asks God for permission to swallow them up. But God says, if you had created them, you would be merciful with them. God waits for the day when the person would acknowledge his lack of knowledge and ask forgiveness for the sin he committed. God forgives all sins, so long as the person admits the sin while feeling guilt and shame. It is not until some people who were mentioned in the Bible humbled themselves before God and upon hearing God's commandments in the lost scrolls of Moses that God decided to delay the punishment. When Ahab humbled himself in the book of Kings, God did not bring about the destruction in his days. The Lord is right in doing this to us. 2 Chronicles chapter 12, 6. The Lord is always right in doing whatever He chooses to do. A singer would blaspheme God on stage, while all her audience continue cheering her and screaming for her. God could easily have shaken the ground under her feet and responded with an immediate punishment against her and all those who support her. However, God gave her respite and delayed her punishment until more people would testify against her and witness her perversion. If God were to punish her on the spot, people would ask, "Why has God done this?" And they would remember her for the good that she had done in life and sympathize with her. If God struck her with a serious sickness for the blasphemy that she uttered, she would continue to be upon her wretchedness and would get more stubborn and rebellious. Instead, God delayed her because there might be a time when she would ask forgiveness and admit her wrongdoing. It seems very unfair to delay someone who is clearly sinful and allow them to repent afterwards or do something which would remove all their sins. It would seem unfair to some people, but this is why God is the most merciful and forgiving. To other humans who hear the blasphemy or see the transgression committed by such people, they would immediately consider that unfair. Similarly, some people would ask, why is God not punishing them for their sins? But if God were to punish them immediately for their sins, why would others be spared? Why would the one who asks to hasten the punishment of those people not be punished immediately as well? What if God's punishment were to fall upon whoever sins immediately, rather than be given time to repent and consider the wrong that he had done? If God were to punish someone immediately, wouldn't it be possible that they would make excuses on the day of judgment and say, I sinned, but I was going to ask forgiveness. However, I was punished immediately. If God were to bring about the destruction of someone who blasphemes him and sins against him immediately without being warned or told that their actions are wrong, wouldn't they also make excuses and say on the day of judgment, "No one had warned me about it. My punishment came straight away, and I was not given time to consider my actions"? Some people would even claim ignorance, claim that no one had told them any better, that they were raised a certain way or taught a certain way. If God were to punish every person for the mistakes that they do immediately, no human would be left alive, and no human would know how to ask forgiveness. They say that humans are creatures who are programmed through reward and punishment. If they know a certain action merits punishment, they would be inclined not to do it. And if they know a certain action reaps a reward, they would be more willing to do it. However, this is not how God rules his kingdom. Even if an action merits punishment, the punishment is delayed so that people would have time to repent. God is the king who rules the world because he owns the world. Everything owes its existence to God and owes him obedience, reverence, and praise.